Well, hello, everybody. It is Dennis and Andy with your movie review for the week. That's right. Last night, Dennis and I went out and we saw Elevation, or as I like to call it, Quiet Place's little baby brother that nobody ever wanted.
That's right. The black sheep of the family that could have stayed the black sheep.
That's right. Dennis, what is this movie about?
A single young father, Anthony Mackie, and two women venture from the safety of their homes up in the mountains to face these monstrous creatures to save the life of his young son.
And let me tell you something, guys. I am not kidding. I was thinking about this movie after we saw it on the drive home and stuff, not for good reasons. Uh, for bad, and it really is. It is a total crap version of A Quiet Place. You you barely see the creatures, and when you do, the designs are cool, but it's just like it tried to build up everything like A Quiet Place. It tried to build up the tension. It tried to build these relationships, just everything, and you know, tell me if I'm wrong. I think it failed on all levels.
Yes. I'll put it this way. In the quiet place, the aliens come from down above. They're invading the planet. Well, all of a sudden, these creatures suddenly come from down below, and they suddenly appear, and they're the new apex predators on the earth. And so you're looking at that, going, "Cool! I can't wait to find out more about them." Uh huh. Well, apparently that's going to be in two because they really don't talk about it at all. Um,
Which isn't a bad thing because let's be honest, in the first Quiet Place movie, they didn't really go into that much detail either. They
right,
got they
but
got what, 3 movies and a prequel.
correct. But what I was going to say was, and that's okay as long as the story you're trying to tell, which is the interpersonal relationship between Anthony Mackie's character, Morena's character, and the three people that set out. You are building up this dynamic. This has to be a really good, road trip kind of story then. And unfortunately, the acting was not great, and I love the actors normally. The story was not great. The dialogue was not great. There was nothing great about any of the performances, any of this. I could have cared less about any of them, honestly, almost through the entire movie. Maddie
Yeah.
Hatton, she plays Katie, the other girl that goes along, and her relationship is very, let's call it gritty, with Morena Baccarin's character, Nina. And honestly, you could just sum it up. Hey, uh, scientist, heavy drinker, is angry all the time and gets in fight with the young girl who's trapped up on a mountain, as they both like Anthony Mackie in a way.
Yeah. I mean, so the basic gist is it's called Elevation because this movie takes place in Colorado, and if you're above 8,000 feet in elevation on the mountains, you're good, you're safe. For some odd reason, these creature monsters, whatever, can't go above 8,000 feet, and they have that marked on the ground with posts and stuff. So so if they are below it, the people, they know what they're running towards. And I mean, there's a couple scenes they have to run away from them. They cross that 8,000 feet threshold, and the monster. It's weird. They did a down shot, and the monster just stops, and then it kind of stalks back and forth, and you can actually kind of tell that they were using as reference for the movement of the creatures, at least for this scene, uh, a lion or some big jungle cat, the way it stalked the barrier, back and forth. Um, there's no real explanation, which that doesn't bother me because why would these people know? They just, at some point in the 3 years, because this has been going on for 3 years, when these creatures came about and took out 95% of the human population.
In 1 month. So
Yeah.
it was 95%. They literally killed. None of our weapons worked. Our missiles, our rockets, our bombs, nothing. Our bullets, they're ineffective against these creatures, whatever they are. And this is where we start getting into the totally implausible. So Morena's character, being the scientist, she's got this theory and she's got this plate, and she's finding a way that I can bypass it because of, and I won't spoil it, but science. I think it's creating this field, and if I could get this thing and mix it right, I think we could bypass it and shoot through it. And you're like, so he's like, oh, a magic bullet. You're here to make a magic bullet. Yes. So again, here was the big problem with that. 95% of the population was killed off in a month. They've come up, they've literally got it. But they're not predators like when you think of Jurassic Park, how, T-Rex, go and eats their prey. No. These predators are designed to kill and nothing else. They do not consume their prey. They don't eat it. They go into detail on that. And yet, so what would you expect to picture when you get into like Boulder, Colorado, where they got to go? You would expect to see bodies. So decaying bodies, because this happened 3 years ago.
Right.
There would still be bodies and remains everywhere. They don't eat them. There's not a single body you see inside of one building. Oh, don't look over there. And you see a little blood splatter. And I was like, okay, no other bodies. It literally makes.
Well, not only that, and I remember bringing this up, and I can't remember what you said, so you can repeat it. But these creatures, the way they sense you isn't through sight. So it's not like they go, there's humans, go get them. It's through the expulsion of the CO2 when you're breathing. And they can sense that from just long distances away. And then, they're very fast. They come at you, whatever. And like Dennis said, they have this armor plating on them, which is impervious to regular bullets. I just can't imagine these things are so tough that if a jet comes down firing the missiles that it has on it, or 50 cals, this thing's going to repel those as well. But apparently it does. So anyhow, and I said, well, wait a second. If it's attracted to CO2, are humans breathing out a different type of CO2 than like horses and other mammals on the planet? And what did you say to that? I can't remember.
They only attack humans.
Right.
So
so they can distinguish the CO2 and go, right, that's human CO2. We must get it.
Yeah, because even in the trailer, you saw horses. There was horses running and they're multiplying. Oh, yeah. And they don't touch any other creatures. Just
well, and there was that line in the movie where they saw a bunch of horses, and the one girl, Katie, says, "Where'd they all come from?" And then Monica's character basically said something like, it's because we're not here.
Right.
What? We're so because of us, we're out there trying to extinguish horses all over the place. They can't populate because of us damn humans. We're trying to put horses into extinction. So
yeah, like I said, this movie, and so you got to at least have excitement factor. The Quiet Place did a nice job of slow buildups for for scenes. This one, it was so boring. It was so slow. And then when there was action, it was kind of contrived action that didn't make sense. The big chase scene, Anthony Mackie drives away. He's in his truck and stuff like that. And you're like, oh, monster's going to be chasing him. No. The big excitement was he hits a rock, flips his truck, and crashes himself because he hit a rock. Not because he was under pressure from driving. He's just a bad driver who really wasn't.
I mean, that's the thing. He's driving up the mountain, not on rough terrain, but on a road. It's a dirt
Yeah,
road, but
it's a
it's
dirt road.
smooth and everything. And yeah, he's going fast because, he doesn't know if this creatures could come at you at any time. And so he's driving fast. He gets a blowout. And look, I've never gotten a blowout, but I know people that have, going 60, 70 on the highway, and they just pull over. They don't automatically blow out, car rolls, whatever. Um, and he's unconscious for a while. So for the while that he's unconscious, they don't get him that way. And the other thing too is, and I even said this during the movie, they're they're playing it up in the dialogue and stuff, like these creatures are just freaking everywhere.
Yes.
And I mean, they're just not. And I think it came down to a budget, honestly, because it was the big scene near the end of the movie where three of them all converge on Anthony Mackie's character, and you actually see that many in the shot. Whereas for the rest of the movie, it's basically like, here's
Yep.
one. And you're like, well, they're not really that around that much. So, and another thing I thought of too, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, they they s- they can sense the expulsion of the CO2. Well, what if, because they've had to make excursions below 8,000 feet into Boulder, Colorado before to get supplies and stuff. Some people make it, some don't. They allude to. Well, if you were breathing oxygen through a mask, like, say a scuba thing, for instance, an air tank, would the expulsion still be the same to where they could sense it, or?
So this was something I had a thought of, and I had mentioned it. My wife went with us to this movie, and we were talking about on the way home. I'm like, look, they understand what triggers them. They can detect the creatures. I'd be like, so you rig up a mask where you breathe in oxygen and you would breathe out to a recycle tank, basically a CO2 tank, so you would never exhale CO2 out in the open.
Right, it
I'm
would
like,
capture.
that's literally the easiest way to do it. But no, it's all about the magic bullet. And I don't mean like the JFK magic bullet, but this comes through and it's just this whole thing is nonsensical. And it's okay as long as it's a very engaging movie and stuff, but it just wasn't. I was very shocked at how little I really enjoyed this movie. It was just okay at best.
It's an hour and a half. It feels longer. Um, we were going to go see Smile 2, and we even had our tickets for it.
We
And
did.
then I saw this and was like, "Do you want to do this instead?" And he was like, "Yeah, let's do this." And part of the reason is we never saw Smile 1.
Right.
Now I'm regretting it because you don't need to see 1 to see 2. It would just, for us, being the completists that we are, we like that. So anyhow, let's grade this puppy because I think we're just going on and on about it. I think it's your turn.
It
It is,
is.
in fact, because I said 7-0 last week for
Yep.
what we saw, and
Yep.
you agreed. So
Elevation is a stay home and maybe catch it on Netflix when it comes out. I'm giving this a 4.5. Um, it had a few nice sceneries. If you like beautiful scenes in the mountains and stuff, it's got some beautiful
makes me
landscape.
want to visit Colorado.
Yep. Morena Baccarin, she's still adorable. Still love her and everything that she's in.
Even with no makeup and looking a little, weathered because of the life they're having to live. Still very attractive.
Yep.
Natural beauty.
Maddie Hatson, she plays the other girl. She's a local girl here from North Carolina, and she was her character was fine, but the interactions between the main characters just weren't there. There was no driving point home. There was not a lot of excitement, even when the big, you hit the peak right there. There really wasn't much of a peak. I just sat there and went, wow, I'll never have to see this again, and I'm okay with that. So 4.5, maybe catch it on a late Friday on Netflix.
Yep, I am right there, but I'm at a 4.0, so just 0.5 below you. Same thoughts. I mean, I was bored. I just thought they left so much on the table. Honestly, the last eh, eh, really, you could have taken the first hour and edited that down to about a 15-minute montage, and then you would have had 45 minutes of a movie. And then after the first half hour, after the last half hour, keep it going.
Right. I mean,
And
honestly,
then because that's when it actually started getting good. And I
yeah,
was like, oh, cool.
the ending when they finally can start defeating them and they send out word to the other ones, and then they show a cool pullback sequence where they're showing the fruits of their labor and stuff. Okay, that's kind of interesting, but it's all an afterthought. It feels like this hour and a half movie, they left a half hour on the cutting room floor. Usually we like nice, short, tight movies, but I think they left important stuff on the cutting room floor. It just felt incomplete.
Yep. But what did the reviewers have to say? Do we know?
We do. IMDb has their ratings out. It's at a 5.8. So they're usually about a point up. So if you take that 4.8, they're in the ballpark. And we have 52% on the tomato meter for Rotten Tomatoes. No popcorn meter. There are less than 50 verified reviews, so people are not rushing out to see this and not posting their reviews. So 52% on Rotten Tomato.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, Kor-Drath Volume 2, The Awakening, is rated at a 10.12. Yeah, that's how high it is. I'm making up numbers. Seriously, guys, if you like Conan, Dungeons and Dragons, Game of Thrones, you will enjoy the heck out of Kor-Drath and the cast of characters in this book. It's action, adventure, intrigue. The Shattered Reach is at stake. That is Kor-Drath's and Adriana's land, and they need to go and fight with the Black Eagles tribe against the menacing Vordum the Undying, the Necronite, and Lilith to save the Shattered Reach, collect the ancient artifacts. Want to find out more? Click on the link below, peruse the campaign, check out the various covers. I've got one. Bud Root, Irene Strakowski did one. We've got collector boxes, minifigures, a black and white edition, a new game module. Guys, go check it out. New t-shirt, posters. We got something for everybody, and a catch-up tier featuring a new Bud Root cover on Kor-Drath, The Reckoning. So guys, go check it out. It's because of your backing us and supporting us that allows us to bring this book to you. $53,901. Let's get this to double nickels, 55,000. That's how old I turned earlier this week. 55 years old, that is. Dennis is actually 55,000 years old. He holds up well.
I do.
He does. So go back it, guys. We thank you all for supporting it.
Next weekend, we will be seeing next Thursday, Red One.
That's right.
The Great Santa Claus Kidnapping Movie with The Rock and
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans.
And oh my God, what's the dude's name that played Peter? Oh God, Simmons, J.K. Simmons, right?
There you go.
J.K. Simmons is Santa Claus, an in shape, not long beard Santa Claus. It looks fun and entertaining for a holiday movie. We're going to check it out. Until then, like, subscribe, and share. And thank you guys so much for supporting us. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you later.
Live long and prosper.
An ancient evil awakened to slaughter his family. A mythical quest was revealed. Treacherous perils await. Lovers bound by destiny. Darkness gathers as a new game begins. One man's rage will shape worlds. Kor-Drath, The Awakening. Only on Indiegogo. Back it now!